Good morning. Hey, Monday. It's a Monday. Long commute in. Thought I'd throw this out there. Because of people having to revamp, organizations having to revamp their way of doing things to make sure that they don't get federal funding. Or if they do, there's guidelines. And apparently the feds have came out with, that they're not going to worry about nationalities and all that and trying to bring everyone into harmony and whatever they're trying to do. But there's certain race-oriented organizations, African leagues and, Asian leagues and whatever, and just organizations that did originally rely on or some funding from the feds, and they're having to rechange or review their. Good morning. I'm just waking up. Review their modes of operation, we'll say. The feds have always been slow. That's our fault, that we don't pressure them enough. We elect people in there that end up taking advantage of things, and we just let it pass. Okay? That being said, the people that are in there needs to be a recognition of leadership. There was a vision back when our forefathers kicked off this whole nation, and that forethought was one that didn't include them. Okay, they removed themselves from the whole equation. They were humble enough to do so. Okay? Not everything in the world revolved around them kind of thing. We don't aspire to that much anymore for some reason. It seems like you rarely hear it out of Congress, out of the House. And it needs to be recognized. It really does. That's what makes a person do measures and put forth laws and put forth ideas that help for the betterment of society. Okay? It needs to be done that way. One thing that they don't recognize, and this is something that I've always said in conversations, but the concept never really, it helps put a picture frame around, our situation in this world. But you don't hear it enough, once again. And normally when it's came up in conversation with me, it's been wrapped around the American native population here, and I've always turned around and said, I'm sorry. I apologize for our ancestors and the way that they handled things, But at some point, you need to forgive, and you need to understand it was what I call forging of nations. Okay? 150 years ago, we were still forging territories. We're kind of on the tail end. And when I mean forging of territories, after, say, World War I, it should have been, but definitely after World War II, you couldn't just outright jump into another nation and try taking them over without a global backlash. Okay? I mean a solid global backlash. Yes, United Nations helped and stuff like that. But pretty much the map globally crystallized about then. Okay? We're all kind of set in our own territories right now. What happens beyond that point is up to us. Okay? But like what I was talking about in the native populations, and saying that, it was atrocious what had happened, horrible what had been done. In the name of a new nation, in the name of a faith, to a populace that that was just kind of catapulted from living in the old to the new. But at some point, you've got to rise above that and be mindful that they weren't mindful of what was going on the other side of the globe. There were thousands or millions upon millions of other people, white, yellow, brown, black, that they didn't know about at all. Okay, so yeah, that's where that's kind of where my mind is set. Well, now, let's just say we're up to World War II, even though it should be roughly World War I. You're going to have little disputes upon property lines and nations and all that, but not to the scale of empires taking over, wide swaths of land. Now, what really brings me to this kind of conversation here is, since then, we've had more of a, what I call touchy-feely, a more individual awareness-based awakening in society. And that society bleeds around the world. Just like when all of a sudden COVID came out of the blue. And within a short period of time, it was around the world. There was something that you had in common if you lived in Ohio with Madagascar. There was something that you had in common if you lived in Chile and with somebody in Czechoslovakia. Okay? There was that awareness. But the touchy-feely awareness, individual awareness that I'm talking about, is understanding of our own human nature and our own human being, both physical and spiritual, and realizing that you have to live in harmony with other people. I mean, you don't have to. You could be a warmonger and kill. But realistically, you're going to be doing that the rest of your life. And at some point, just like old gunslingers, there's going to be someone young coming down that street that's going to take you out. So why not live in harmony? Why not try to understand each other? Because there may be something that there will be definitely something that you benefit out of it. But much like what the COVID taught us was that I don't care how different you look. You're a physical human being like I am. And you will realize that you have something in common with a person on the other side of the planet. And at some point, you're not the king of the jungle. And the king of the jungle isn't a prey that's going to come running down and bite your head off. The king of the jungle could very well be something that you can't even see. And it has the capability of taking both of you out. No matter of your faith, no matter what skin color you are. Okay? We've came into that awareness. We've came into that awareness to understand the individual human being that all of us are, and we need to wrap our heads around it. Coming back full circle to what I was talking about originally, the government has always been slow about these things. I've said it one time way back that you have people in there that are sitting there pushing their chest out about their Harvard or their Yale or their Brown or their whatever college, and they are pushing that like well, I'll say like it means something, and it does. It's an achievement, but it doesn't make you better or smarter than the next person next to you. Okay, once again, a microbe can take both of you out, and your fucking degree isn't going to help you. It might help you if it's in immunology. Might help you if it's in, an area that you can do some lab work and be able to fix both of you up. But realistically, the awareness of the individual is now coming into play. How long it takes us to get through this phase, because we're still trying to map out property lines in the foraging of nations, but we're pretty much at the end of that, unless some tyranny force decides to push their chest out. On the individual, our government has never been. We tried to talk about civil rights, which is great, but we're slow because we still have a body of people in there that, for whatever reason, have a fear or they don't have the understanding to wrap their head around living with other people. And I'm going to say it that way. They have a hard time living with other people that may be a little different. Whatever that may mean. Okay? So, I hope that I see that day, but I know that the baby boomers of America grew up watching Someone Have a Dream, whose background was not of their choosing, but they managed to seize the day and tell the world about being in harmony. King's moment of clarity stands as a testament to the human dilemma, the human challenge, the human inspiration. And I just hope I see the day, that we can wrap our head around that. You can say good and evil. You could say learned and ignorant, or those that are spiritual, non-spiritual. But what it still comes down to is we all are individuals. We all are different to a degree. And at some point, we need to wrap our head around that. And our laws that we have and the way that we forge ahead need to reflect that. It needs to reflect that awareness. Okay? If we are truly a great nation, we should be able to have that foresight. It's basically what it comes down to. I paraphrase a lot. I'm not a great orator. And I try to circle things back in my discussion. And I hope that this one makes sense. Hey, got nothing but love for you. And have a beautiful day.